Welcome again, friends. We've got a very interesting presentation. We are going to talk about free radicals and the cost of free radicals. See, it's presentation number 7. The cost of free radicals. I'm going to give you the definition of what free radicals are. Have you heard of free radicals? How many have heard of free radicals? Okay. Now, I'm going to first give you the definition of what a free radical is, because many people heard about them. They seem very famous. Do you know what they are? All right, this is the definition. What are free radicals? A free radical is any atom or molecule that has a single ampere electron in an outer shell and is highly reactive. That's the definition. Did you get it? Please don't say yes, because I have to go one step at a time to get it, okay, despite the fact that I already know what a free radical is. That's the standard definition of a free radical. You still have no idea what it is, isn't it? I'll read it again. A free radical is any atom or molecule that has a single ampere electron in an outer shell and is highly reactive. And please, if you're taking notes, don't take note of this definition. Though it is the true definition, it will mean nothing to you. I need to actually present to you a parable. Now, I'm going to present to you Mr. Free Radical. Let's say that this is a dancing floor. And there's some rules in the dancing floor. You dance by pairs. So this one dance with this one, and this one dance with this one, and that one dance with that one. Those are the rules of the dancing floor. Now through the door comes this guy with a black t-shirt that says, "I'm a free radical." This fella has not brought with him a partner, and he is a bully. So he goes with his big chest and the black t-shirt, and "I am a radical, a free radical." And he goes to one of the couples and he pushes them, boom, to the point in which he intimidates them and separates the couple. But the free radical is very, very evilish. He doesn't go and start dancing with one of those two individuals that he just separated. No. He now forces each individual to wear the very same t-shirt that he is wearing. So now how many free radicals we have? 3. And now 3 radicals walk about the dancing floor, and they pushed each of them to other couples. Now, how many free radicals we have? It just goes exponential, right? So it just breaks the party. They just party breakers, right? They just break the party. For only one free radical breaks, and everything that he breaks turns in itself a free radical. Did you get that? Okay. Now, what happens if those 2 individuals are actually cells in your body that are part of a structure of a tissue, muscle, organ, gland, and they're just part of a structure? Or the lining against your nerve, around your nerves, for instance, and or the bundles of your nerves. What will happen? That now in that area, in that structure, there is a damage. It's creating a damage. It's breaking down the structure of that organ in that area, and now it's creating more free radical activity. And more free radical activity. I'm going to tell you the theory of the free radical. This is a scientific theory of free radical, and says this. The free radical theory of aging states that organisms age because cells accumulate free radical damage over time. So in other words, why are we aging is because of the action of free radicals. You've seen on TV these creams for beauty, to get rid of wrinkles and all that. What are they doing? They are trying to counteract the activity of who? Of free radicals. They're trying to actually counteract the activity of free radicals. Now, I'm going to give you number one item that brings into our bodies a tremendous amount of free radicals. There's many, and we are going to place the list before you. Main sources of free radicals. And I want you to pay attention to the number one source. Vegetable oils, rancid butter, and fried foods. Vegetable oil, rancid butter, and fried foods. Now, I need to specify what kind of vegetable oil. When we have a vegetable oil, the one from the shopping center, it comes in a bottle, plastic bottle, says vegetable oil for cooking and salad dressing. You've seen them? Vegetable oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil for frying your beautiful chicken schnitzel or whatever, right? That kind of vegetable oil. When you turn it around on the label, it will tell you that is, how much protein does it have? 0. Carbohydrates? 0. Fat? 100% because it's fat, it's oil. Okay? Now, then it goes on to the breaking down of the fat. And when you break down the fat, every single oil will have some amount of saturated fat, but mainly will be polyunsaturated. And then it has a word at the bottom that says trans. How many of you know what trans is? Okay, in the fatty acids, there is a tail. And that tail of the fatty acids, when it's down, it's not so bad. But when it's up, it looks like a scorpion. That's the trans. When that tail, through the heating process and the extracting process, from getting a seed like cottonseed into oil, I don't know who was the clever one that looked at a seed like cottonseed and thought, we are going to make oil out of this. Can you imagine the process to get oil out of that? It's a very, very complicated, to a certain degree, high temperature exposure to that seed and high pressure to extract oil from that seed in order to actually extract an oil. Through that process, the little tail in the fatty acid goes up. And guess what that little tail is? The trans. It's like a scorpion. And is the responsible of tremendous amount of free radicals. It goes into your arteries and it does. It creates damage everywhere. Now, you cannot imagine how many people come to me and say, I've gone for a blood test and my cholesterol is through the roof. And I said, okay, but I've got a problem. Oh, what's the problem? I don't eat any animal products. Have you ever heard that before? Have you ever heard people that don't eat any animal products? So in other words, they're not consuming any cholesterol, but the cholesterol is through the roof. Now, how much cholesterol is on vegetable oils? 0. 0 cholesterol. I want you to follow carefully. Vegetable oils have 0 cholesterol, but they have free radicals. As you consume them and they get into your system, they create a damage in your artery. And you need to understand what your arteries look like from the inside. That thing is better than Teflon. Nothing sticks to your arteries. Nothing sticks to your artery. To your arteries. To the wall of your arteries. Nothing sticks there. It's better than Teflon. But now you have a scorpion that is peeling off the Teflon. And as it peels off the Teflon, the body needs to send something to patch it up. Something that is sticky, that can resemble the beautiful surface inside your arteries. And that something is called cholesterol. Because friends, if you don't consume cholesterol and your cholesterol is through the roof, let me tell you something. Your liver is making it. Your liver is making the cholesterol. Why is it making it? To save your life. I beg your pardon? Now I'm going to ask you a question. In Australia, we have many fires. When the fires appear on TV, you see these huge fires. And you always see fire brigade people. All the firefighters, they are all around. No matter what fire you see, you always see the firefighters. Now, question. Because whenever you see the fire, you see the firefighters, should you conclude, therefore, that the firefighters start the fire? Why are they for? To put it down. So what we see is that, whoa, the cholesterol is through the roof. Let's go to drop the cholesterol. It's like, oh, look, we look at the fire, and there's always so many firefighters there. Maybe if we remove the firefighters, who is making that cholesterol, friends? Is your liver. Have you asked him why? To protect you from the damaging action of free radicals. If your liver wouldn't be producing that cholesterol, that artery will be clogged up in no time because everything will stack in it. And they say, hold on a second, but the thing is that then you are risking heart attack because you build up cholesterol upon cholesterol, and eventually it will just close up. Yeah, that is true. That is then when cholesterol becomes a problem because it can actually eventually clog up. But why is it building up and it's not stopping building up? Because of free radical damage. And by the way, what I'm just sharing with you is what now is causing in Australia's universities and bachelor's degrees in medical nutrition to change textbooks. Because a program called Current Affairs or something like that in a TV channel in Australia actually presented an entire hour specifically on this. That the rising of cholesterol in the majority of the cases is the reaction from the body from the damage of free radicals. And one of the leaders in free radical damage is vegetable oils, margarines, rancid butter, fried foods. People ask me, Oscar, I know that you don't eat butter, but between butter and margarine, if it's not rancid, butter. Oh, but it has cholesterol. Yeah, it has cholesterol in it. That's true. But the other one doesn't have cholesterol, but it's going to cause your liver to create cholesterol because of damage. The butter's cholesterol won't do the damage on your arteries. And that comes from somebody that doesn't eat butter. But if you have to choose between margarine with zero cholesterol and non-rancid butter, and that's where you are at the moment in your diet and in your understanding, go for butter. Okay? At least the butter, they didn't have to put a colorant to change it from gray color to butter-looking color. Because that's the color of margarine, gray. Not very appetizing, isn't it? So, is that clear what we're talking about here with the free radicals and oils? Which oils, therefore, can I use? You turn around the label and it has to say trans zero. Where did you get that from? Extra virgin olive oil. Does New Zealand produce olive oil? Okay, then you have to get it from New Zealand. That comes from a Spaniard. Do you know what is the number one export of Spain? Olive oil. And people say, Oscar, how is it that you are promoting, Australian olive oil, or in this case, New Zealand olive oil? Oh, very simple. You don't trust the Spaniards. So extra virgin olive oil, you use that, and you look at it, and it has to be trans 0. If you get one extra virgin olive oil and it says trans, and with a number that is not 0, or very near to 0, then that oil is either mixed or is not cold pressed, because it's temperature that actually wakes up the scorpion. You understand what I'm saying? So if it doesn't have 0 or very close to 0, why very close to 0? Because sometimes if they use a stainless steel extraction method, there will be a bit of heat there, but it has to be near to none. Okay? Look, this fellow here also is a cause of free radicals. A high consumption of meat products will actually cause you age quicker. Why? Because of the action of free radicals. Alcohol. Alcohol needs to be detoxified by your liver. And you have the phase 1 detoxification. When you are consuming alcohol, from the stage of going from phase 1 to phase 2, if they're not actually synchronized in the right way, there is a build-up of toxins there between one phase to the other if they're not synchronized correctly. And that build-up causes free radical, tissue damage, liver damage, etc., etc., etc. How is it that alcoholics have liver damage? It's not because the liver cannot filter through the alcohol. It's because of the accumulation of the metabolites in between the phase 1 and the phase 2 that causes an increase in free radicals. And what do free radicals do? Tissue damage. So what is the tissue that is there? The liver. And it will just dismantle the liver. Okay? So meat, alcohol, coffee. Just take what I said of alcohol, just take it about coffee. Because caffeine will also have to go through the phase 1, phase 2 detoxification of the liver. Smoking. Now, smoking goes straight into your lungs. Lungs has a compound amino acid, it's compound of 3 amino acids called glutathione. And glutathione is stored up in your lungs. Though it's stored up in your lungs, is actually utilized for one of the desintoxication processes in phase 2 desintoxification of the liver. So glutathione is used by the liver for the desintoxification in phase 2, but it's stored up in the lungs. So guess what? You are smoking, and when you are smoking, you're reducing the glutathione storage here that then your liver has no access to, so then you have accumulation of metabolites, increase in free radicals, tissue damage, aging, inflammation, death. Get it? Okay. Sugar. What else can we say about this fella here? He's a bit of a racist. Because if originally the sugar is green. When you squeeze the sugar cane, it's green, and then if you toast it a little bit, it will end up being black. And so I think the whole process of sugar was a racist process. Because everything had to be white. All the drugs, basically because of the liver, every drug will have to be disintoxicate. They will actually have to be metabolized by the liver for the disintoxication. Okay? Some perfumes. I'm going to tell you something about perfumes. Where do you put the perfume? You get the bottle, and where do you put the perfume? Do you know what you got here? It's called the thyroid. Do you know what the thyroid does? The thyroid is a hungry gland. In fact, if you eat something that has iodine in it, that iodine won't have a chance to pass through here without the thyroid having a go at it and just trying to even extract it while it's in your mouth through the glands of your through the saliva glands and through the passing through. It will already be absorbing iodine because he needs iodine for fuel, okay? For the metabolism from T4 to T3, which are hormones from the thyroid, okay? And where are you putting your perfume, sorry? You know, one of the things that we say to ladies that suffer from hypothyroidism, and said, just put the perfume on your clothes, or stay away from the perfume for a while, or use Vicap soda under your armpits or whatever, but don't put that in your thyroid. It's slowing the function of your thyroid. If you want to lose weight and your thyroid is hypo or is under functioning, you're going to have a whole battle ahead of you. You're not going to lose weight because this regulates metabolism. It is the thyroid that does the switching. And if you put in the perfume here, you're altering that. And by putting perfume on that area, you're also introducing more free radicals in it. Okay? So, sometimes I see these boys, they get these sprays and they just go shh. I go, oh, Lord, have mercy. Type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, in and of itself, if you have that condition, your condition will actually generate free radicals. It will generate free radicals on your arteries, so your blood return from your legs will be altered. And what are one of the things that you need to check if you have type 2 diabetes? You need to check daily your nails in your toes and between your toes. Why? Because you can lose your feet just like that, because the blood flow is being hindered by the action of free radicals because you have type 2 diabetes. Okay? Low thyroid function, that goes along with the perfumes, but also with another thing. If you remember, those of you that did chemical subjects at school or high school, you will remember that the table of elements there was a group that was tied up together. And there was the group that contained iodine, fluoride, and chlorine. Or chlorine. What do you call it? How do you call it? Chlorine, fluoride, iodine, and bromide. So they are on the same group because they share similar characteristics. So now I get my tap water from the house, which is full of what? Chlorine and fluoride. At least in Australia it has fluoride there. And I drink it. What is my thyroid going to do with those two elements that share very much close characteristics to iodine? And remember, iodine is what the thyroid needs for fuel. It's going to absorb it. It's going to prevent your system from really absorbing the iodine, and it's going to absorb the wrong thing, the chlorine and the fluoride. And that's going to make your thyroid work more sluggish. And when your metabolism is more sluggish, that means that the cleaners in your system, rather than be active, they're cleaning like this. And when they're cleaning like this, buildup of free radicals happens. Because the cleaners are not attentive to what is happening around them. Acute and chronic diseases. Every disease and every disease causes inflammation. Acute or chronic. Asthma is an inflammation. It causes an inflammation. Diabetes causes an inflammation. Heart disease will actually causes an inflammation. Lupus How do you actually check for lupus? They actually check for the RF, which is the rheumatic factor that they use also for rheumatoid arthritis. It's an inflammation disease. Every disease causes inflammation. Where there is inflammation, there is the action of free radicals. Free radicals and inflammations go together because where there is disease, there is inflammation. Okay? And that also happens in acute situations. If you twist your ankle, what will happen soon? Inflammation. And there will be free radicals there because this broken tissue and dead tissue and so on, it will be free radicals there. Okay? Pesticides and insecticides, many food preservatives, many food preservatives, food additives, pollution, ozone layer, sunlight, and the UV and the gamma rays from the sun. Do you know that when you are actually flying, you are exposed to the gamma rays from the sun because you are above this level and you are actually more exposed to the gamma. Now, pilots, because of where they are at the cabin, they even feather exposed. And nowadays, some flying companies, they actually have a writing. And they write how many hours that pilot has been on the air because of the exposure to gamma. And what gamma does is it gets the water into your body and it breaks it down in such a way that makes it into hydrogen peroxide. That's why when you're flying, you feel thirsty because of the gamma rays. You feel thirsty, and the hydrogen peroxide inside is actually acting as a free radical, and it's pushing everyone around. That's why you think that you need to drink a bit more. I'll tell you in a minute, or in the next presentation, what you actually can do when you're flying. Chemotherapy and radiation. That in itself is a intrusion of free radicals into your body. But look at this one. Look at the last one. Depression, negativity, mental distress, frustration. I just get so frustrated. And you just got a doses of free radicals too in the process. You know that frustrated people look older? You know why? Because frustration, depression, negativity, talking bad of others, and all those things causes free radicals. In fact, you start talking bad about others. You start being negative about others, and negative about yourself, and negative about your spouse, and negative about your children, and you yourself become a free radical. I want to see you for the next presentation, and we'll provide some solution to this problem. Thank you. You ready to continue? Yeah? Yes? No? Yes? We'll continue. If you're not ready, you can leave. We'll send the army to get you. Okay. All right, friends, welcome again. Now, we finished the last presentation talking about the free radicals and the cost that generates in our life and our health and our disposition. We finished with the note that even depression or having a low self-esteem or thinking bad about yourself, thinking bad about others, talking bad about others, frustrate yourself, and all those negativities create free radicals, and it will age you sooner. But you need to think of it this way. If it ages you sooner, it's because the entire body is aging. The entire body is actually slowly being destroyed. And I'm going to challenge you on something. If your disposition, if your frustration, if your criticism, if your bad attitude towards others and towards yourself causes you to actually deteriorate to a degree that is causing you to age and destroy slowly but surely, your muscles and your organs and so on, let me suggest to you that is a slow suicide practice. It's a slow suicide practice. There's no difference to a person that is smoking that knows that this is going to give me cancer, this is going to increase my risk of a heart attack, this is going to increase my risk of this, that, and the other, and he still smokes. It's called slow suicide. True? And we just learned that smoking also creates free radicals. So, if smoking creates free radicals and increases the risk of heart attack and increases the risk of this, that, and the other, including of course, lung cancer. Now, if my disposition towards others, if my criticism towards others, if my damage towards others, my frustration, my lack of positive attitude, and all those things causes me also to suffer from the damage of free radicals, can we therefore conclude that it's also a slow suicide process? So what's the solution?